She said commitment felt too heavy and asked me to understand her feelings. I said I did, released her without drama, and chose peace over persuasion. Months later, she reached out when stability became more valuable than temporary excitement. I think I need space to figure out who I am without us. Those were the words that cut through our 3-year relationship like a knife through butter. I sat across from Rachel at our favorite coffee shop, the same place where we'd spent countless Sunday mornings, and I felt something inside me shift. Not break. Shift. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. She was 26, I was 28, and apparently, commitment had become too heavy for her to carry. Okay, I said. She blinked. What? I said okay. If you need space, I understand. Her face did something strange. Relief mixed with confusion, maybe disappointment. I couldn't tell anymore, and honestly, I was too tired to decode it. That's it. You're not going to fight for us. I took a slow sip of my coffee. Rachel, I'm not going to hold someone who doesn't want to be held. You said commitment feels too heavy. I heard you. I thought you'd at least try to understand my feelings. I do understand your feelings. That's exactly why I'm letting you go. The silence that followed was deafening. People around us continued their conversations, oblivious to the relationship dissolving at table 7. You're really just going to give up? She asked, her voice smaller now. I'm not giving up. I'm respecting what you said you need. You want space to figure out who you are. I'm giving you that space. She picked at her napkin, tearing tiny pieces that fell onto the table like snow. I didn't expect you to be so calm about this. What did you expect? A scene? Drama? Me begging you to stay? I don't know. Something more than this. I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. 3 years of memorizing every expression, every micro-movement, and I could see she was genuinely thrown by my reaction. Rachel, here's the thing. I love you. I've loved you for 3 years. But I'm not going to convince someone to choose me. Either you want to be here, or you don't. And you just told me you don't. That's not what I said. Then what are you saying? She hesitated, her fingers still working on that napkin. I'm saying I feel overwhelmed. Like my life is moving too fast, and I can't catch my breath. We've been talking about moving in together, about marriage, about futures, and I need to know I'm making these choices because I want them, not because it's the expected next step. I nodded slowly. And you need to figure that out without me. I need to figure that out for myself. Then do it. I'm not stopping you. Her eyes welled up. Why are you being like this? Like what? Respectful? Understanding? You're telling me you're not sure about us, Rachel. What exactly am I supposed to do with that information? You're supposed to care. I do care. That's the problem. I care enough to know that holding on to someone who's already halfway out the door isn't love. It's fear. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. So that's it then. We're done. If that's what you want. Stop saying that. Stop putting this all on me. I set my coffee down carefully. You came here today to tell me you need space. You said commitment feels too heavy. Those are your words, not mine. I'm just responding to them honestly. I thought you'd fight for me. Fighting for you would mean ignoring what you just said you need. How is that fighting for you? That's fighting for what I want. The tears came freely now. A few people glanced our way, but I kept my eyes on Rachel. I don't know what I want, she whispered. And that's okay. But while you figure it out, I'm going to choose peace. I'm not going to spend weeks or months in limbo, wondering if you'll decide I'm worth it. I know I'm worth it. The question is whether you know it. She stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. Same thing, apparently. She walked out, and I let her go. I finished my coffee, paid for both of us, and left a generous tip because our server had witnessed the whole thing and deserved combat pay. That was a Saturday in March. The following week was quieter than I expected. I thought I'd fall apart, but instead, I felt strangely clear-headed, like I'd been holding my breath for months and finally exhaled. My best friend Derek came over on Wednesday with pizza and beer. So she really said commitment felt too heavy? He asked, sprawled on my couch. Word for word. And you just let her go. What was I supposed to do? I don't know, man. Most people would have at least tried to talk her out of it. I grabbed another slice. Why? So I could convince her to stay with someone she's not sure she wants to be with? That sounds exhausting. It sounds like you gave up pretty fast. I didn't give up. I chose not to fight a losing battle. There's a difference. Derek studied me for a moment. You're not even sad. I'm sad. I'm also relieved. Relieved? I took a long drink of my beer. The last 6 months, Rachel's been different. Distant. Anxious whenever we talked about the future. I kept thinking it would pass, that she was just stressed from work or whatever. But it wasn't passing. It was getting worse. So you saw this coming. Not consciously, but looking back, yeah, I saw it coming. What are you going to do now? Live my life. Work on the house. Hit the gym. Maybe actually finish that certification I've been putting off. No wallowing? What would be the point? He shook his head. You're a weird dude. You know that? Because I'm not falling apart? Because you're too calm about this. It's unsettling. But I wasn't calm. Not exactly. I was just done. Done pretending everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. Done making myself smaller to make someone else comfortable. Done waiting for someone to be sure about me. 2 weeks later, mutual friends started reaching out. First was Melissa, Rachel's college roommate. Hey, I heard about you and Rachel. I'm so sorry. Thanks, Melissa. I appreciate it. She's really going through it, you know. I paused. Okay. She's been crying a lot. I think she misses you. Then she knows where to find me. There was a long silence. You're not going to reach out to her? No. Why not? Because she ended things. If she wants to talk, she can call me. But I'm not chasing her. That seems harsh. Melissa, she told me commitment felt too heavy. I respected that. If she's changed her mind, that's something she needs to communicate herself. She's scared you hate her. I don't hate her. I just don't think it's my job to make her feel better about her own decision. Another silence. You're different than I thought you'd be about this. How did you think I'd be? I don't know. More broken up about it, I guess. I am broken up about it. I'm just not broken. The calls kept coming. Friends who wanted to know if I was okay, if I needed anything, if I wanted to talk about it. I gave them all the same answer. I was fine, I didn't need anything, and there wasn't much to talk about. My parents had a different reaction. Mom called on a Sunday. Your sister told me about Rachel. Yeah, we broke up. Honey, are you alright? I'm okay, Mom. You don't have to pretend with me. Breakups are hard. I'm not pretending. I'm genuinely okay. After 3 years, just like that? I sighed. It wasn't just like that. It's been building for a while. I just didn't want to see it. What happened? She wanted space. I gave it to her. That's it. Did you two try to work it out? Mom, there was nothing to work out. She wasn't sure she wanted to be with me. You can't negotiate someone into being sure. Maybe she just needed time to think. Then she has all the time she needs. Without me waiting in the wings. I just don't want you to have regrets. I won't. I promise. But she wasn't the only one who thought I was making a mistake. Work became its own kind of awkward. Rachel and I had met through mutual friends, but we existed in overlapping social circles. Her best friend Katie worked 2 floors above me. Katie cornered me in the parking garage one evening. Can we talk? Sure, Katie. What's up? What the hell did you do to Rachel? I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. She's a mess. Crying all the time, can't focus at work. What did you say to her? I said okay when she told me she needed space. That's it. That's it. Some things are. Some things aren't. She twisted her hands together. I made a mistake. What kind of mistake? Ending things with us. I shouldn't have done that. I took a sip of coffee. Why did you? I told you. I felt overwhelmed. And now I realize I was scared. Scared of how serious we were getting. Scared of making the wrong choice. Scared of losing myself. And you're not scared anymore? She hesitated. I'm still scared. But I'm more scared of losing you. You already lost me, Rachel. 3 months ago. Her face crumpled. Don't say that. It's true. You ended our relationship. I respected that decision. What exactly do you think has changed? I've changed. I've had time to think, to figure out what I want. And what do you want? You. Us. Another chance. I set my cup down carefully. Did something happen? She looked confused. What do you mean? Did something happen that made you suddenly realize you wanted me back? Because 3 months ago, commitment felt too heavy. Now you're ready for another chance. That's a big swing. Her eyes dropped. I've been dating. There it was. Okay. I met someone about a month after we broke up. He was exciting, spontaneous. Everything felt easy and light. Good for you. It was good. For a while. Then I started noticing things. What kinds of things? He didn't want to make plans more than a day in advance. He never asked about my day. He'd cancel on me last minute if something better came up. And I realized. Realized what? That easy and light also meant shallow and unstable. That excitement without substance is just chaos. That I'd given up something real for something that felt good in the moment. I leaned back, processing. So you came back because the new guy didn't work out. No, that's not. Rachel, that's exactly what you just described. You left me because you needed to explore. You explored. It didn't work out. Now you're back. It's not that simple. It really is, though. She wiped her eyes. I left because I was scared of how real we were. I came back because I realized real is what I want. You came back because temporary excitement lost its shine and stability started looking better. Why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. I'm being clear. You didn't miss me when you were caught up in someone new. You missed me when that fell apart. That's not fair. Fair? Rachel, you ended a 3-year relationship because it felt too heavy. I gave you space. I moved on with my life. And now you want to walk back in because the grass wasn't greener. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. They do. And sometimes those mistakes have consequences. She was fully crying now. So that's it. You won't even consider giving us another chance. What would another chance look like? You come back, things are good for a while, then what? Next time commitment feels heavy, you leave again? Next time someone exciting comes along, you need space to explore? I wouldn't do that. How do I know? How do you know? She had no answer. Rachel, I'm not angry with you. I'm really not. But I'm also not the same person I was 3 months ago. What does that mean? It means I've learned something about myself. I've learned that I'd rather be alone than be someone's backup plan. I'd rather have peace than perform my value to someone who's not sure I'm worth it. You were never a backup plan. Then what was I? Because from where I'm sitting, I was good enough until something shinier came along. And now that shiny didn't pan out, I'm good enough again. That's not what happened. Then explain what happened. Because that's what it looks like. She struggled for words. I got scared. I panicked. I thought there was something better out there, something easier, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I appreciate the apology. I really do. But an apology doesn't undo what happened. It doesn't change the fact that when things got real, you ran. And I can't build a life with someone who might run again. I won't run again. You can't promise that. Nobody can. She reached across the table for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't take hers either. Please, she whispered. I love you. I've always loved you. Love isn't enough, Rachel. It never was. You can love someone and still not be right for them. You can love someone and still hurt them. You can love someone and still choose to leave. I chose wrong. Maybe. But you chose. And I'm choosing too. Choosing what? Choosing myself. Choosing peace. Choosing not to go back to something that already broke once. She pulled her hand back, sobbing into her palms. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe you thought it would be different. I thought you loved me enough to forgive me. I do forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means I'm letting go of anger and resentment. It doesn't mean I'm letting you back in. We sat in silence for a long time. Her crying eventually subsided into quiet sniffles. What do I do now? She asked, her voice small. You move forward. You take what you learned from this, and you grow. You figure out who you are and what you really want. And next time someone loves you, you don't take them for granted. You hate me. I don't hate you. I honestly wish you well. But I'm done being an option in someone else's life. I'm done waiting for someone to be sure about me. She stood slowly. I guess this is really goodbye then. I guess it is. For what it's worth, you were the best thing that ever happened to me. I just didn't realize it until it was too late. That's the thing about realizations. They don't change the past. They only inform the future. She nodded, tears streaming again. Take care of yourself. You too, Rachel. I watched her walk out of the coffee shop for the second time. This time, there was no confusion about what was happening. This time, the door closing was final. Derek called me that evening. Heard you met with Rachel. News travels fast. Small world. How'd it go? About how you'd expect. She wanted another chance. I said no. How are you feeling? I thought about it. Sad. But certain that I made the right choice. Even though you still love her. Especially because I still love her. Love shouldn't make you doubt yourself. It shouldn't make you feel like a backup plan. It shouldn't require you to convince someone you're worth keeping. That's pretty wise for someone going through a breakup. I'm not going through a breakup anymore. I went through it 3 months ago. This was just closing a door that should have stayed closed. July was brutal heat and unexpected clarity. I got promoted at work. Started dating casually, nothing serious. Spent a week at the beach with college friends. Laughed more than I had in months. People kept asking if I was okay, if I was over Rachel, if I was ready to move on. The truth was more complicated than that. I wasn't over Rachel in the sense that 3 years don't just evaporate. She'd been part of my life, part of my plans, part of my everyday. You don't just forget that. But I was over the idea of us. Over the hope that maybe we'd work it out. Over the fantasy that she'd realize what she lost and come back and everything would be perfect. because she had come back. And it wasn't perfect. It was just sad. One evening, I was having dinner with my sister when she asked the question everyone seemed to be circling. Do you think you'll regret not taking her back? No. You answered that really fast. Because I'm sure. How can you be sure? 3 years is a long time. I pushed food around my plate. You know what I learned from all this? What? That how someone treats you when they're unsure is more important than how they treat you when they're certain. What does that mean? When Rachel was unsure about us, she ended things. She didn't communicate, didn't work through it with me, didn't try to find a middle ground. She just left. And when I didn't beg her to stay, when I just accepted it with grace and moved on, she was upset. Not because she missed me, but because I wasn't playing my part in the drama she expected. That's a pretty harsh interpretation. Is it? She wanted me to fight for her, but what does that actually mean? It means she wanted me to convince her I was worth staying for. To perform my value. To prove I loved her by refusing to let her go. But real love isn't about holding on to someone who wants to leave. It's about wanting what's best for them, even if that's not you. My sister was quiet for a moment. You've really thought about this. I've had a lot of time to think. And you don't wonder what if. Of course I wonder. But wondering and going back are two different things. I wonder what my life would have been like if I'd gone to a different college or taken that job in Seattle or learned to play guitar. But I don't try to go back and live those lives. I live this one. You sound happy. I am happy. Or getting there, anyway. Good. You deserve that. August brought a mutual friend's wedding. I knew Rachel would be there. We'd both RSVP'd months ago, back when we were together and planning to go as a couple. I considered skipping it, but I liked Tom and Angela. I wasn't going to miss their wedding because of an ex. The ceremony was beautiful. Angela cried. Tom got choked up. Everyone applauded. Classic wedding stuff. The reception was where things got interesting. I saw Rachel across the room during cocktail hour. She was with the guy she'd been dating after me, the one who hadn't worked out. Except apparently it had worked out enough for her to bring him to a wedding. She saw me at the same time. Her eyes went wide, then dropped. He said something to her, and she shook her head. I got a drink and found Derek. Rachel's here, he said unnecessarily. I saw. You okay? Why wouldn't I be? Because your ex is here with another dude. She's allowed to date, Derek. We broke up. Yeah, but still. That's gotta sting. Honestly, it doesn't. Not the way you think. During dinner, I ended up at a table with some of Rachel's friends. It was awkward for exactly 30 seconds until someone started telling a funny story, and we all fell into normal conversation. Katie, who'd cornered me in the parking garage months ago, leaned over during dessert. I owe you an apology. For what? For what I said back in May. About being cold and not fighting for her. I was wrong. What changed your mind? She glanced across the room where Rachel was laughing at something her date said. I've watched her these past few months. The guy she's with now? He's not right for her. Anyone can see it. But she's settling because she's scared of being alone. And I realized that's what she would have been doing with you too if you'd taken her back. How do you mean? You were right. You can't convince someone to choose you. They have to do it on their own. And Rachel hasn't done that. She's just cycling through options, looking for someone to make her feel certain when the certainty has to come from her. That's pretty insightful. I've been in therapy, she said with a wry smile. Turns out I have some codependency issues. Who knew? We both laughed. Later, during dancing, Rachel approached me. Hey, can we talk outside? Rachel, I don't think that's a good idea. Please, just 5 minutes. I sighed but followed her onto the terrace. The summer air was warm and thick. I wanted to say I'm sorry, she started. You already apologized. I know, but I don't think I really understood what I was apologizing for until recently. Okay, I used you. Not intentionally, but I did. I treated you like a safety net while I went off and explored, and when the exploration didn't work out, I expected the net to be there. That was selfish. It was. But I appreciate you seeing it. She looked out over the garden. The guy I'm with, the one from inside? He's not you. I didn't think he was. I keep comparing everyone to you, and they all fall short. That's not fair to them, or to you. I know. My therapist says the same thing. You're in therapy? Started last month. Turns out I have some attachment issues to work through. Good. That's good you're working on yourself. She turned to me then. I'm serious. Do you think there's any chance, maybe in the future, that we could? No. The word was gentle but firm. You didn't let me finish. I didn't need to. Rachel, I care about you. I hope you find happiness. But that happiness isn't with me. Not now, not in the future. We had our time, and it ended. What comes next for both of us is something different. You've really moved on. I have. And you need to as well. What if I can't? Then that's something to discuss with your therapist. But it's not something to discuss with me. She nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pulled you out here. It's okay. I'm glad you're working on yourself. I mean that. Thanks. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you didn't take me back. I wasn't ready. I'm still not ready. Then take your time. Figure out what you need. But do it without looking backward. She gave me a small smile. When did you get so wise? Around the same time, I decided peace was more valuable than persuasion. We went back inside. I danced with Angela's sister, had another drink, caught up with old friends. Rachel left early with her date. I stayed until the end, helping stack chairs and collect abandoned champagne glasses because that's the kind of thing you do at a friend's wedding. Driving home that night, I felt lighter than I had in months. September came with cooler air and new beginnings. I started seeing someone. Natalie was a graphic designer I'd met at a coffee shop, different from the usual spot where Rachel and I used to go. She was funny and smart and present in a way I'd forgotten people could be. We took things slow. No rush toward heavy conversations about futures and commitments. Just enjoying each other's company. One evening, about 3 weeks in, we were making dinner at her place when she asked, "So what's your deal?" "My deal? Yeah. You're attractive, employed, emotionally available. What's the catch?" I laughed. "Why does there have to be a catch?" "Because guys like you don't stay single long unless there's a reason." Fair point. I got out of a long relationship about 6 months ago. Messy breakup? Not particularly. She wanted space. I gave it to her. That was it. No drama. Nope. Natalie studied me. "You're lying." "I'm not, actually." "So she just said she needed space and you were like, cool, bye?" "Essentially, yes." "Why?" "Because holding on to someone who doesn't want to be held isn't love. It's fear." She was quiet for a moment. "That's either really healthy or really detached. I can't tell which. Maybe it's both." "Are you over her?" "I'm over what we were. I'm over hoping for what we could have been." "Does that count as over her?" "I think so. But I also think you're more complicated than you let on." "Isn't everyone?" She smiled. "Fair point." By October, Natalie and I were officially dating. Nothing heavy. Nothing that felt like it was moving too fast. Just two people enjoying each other's company and seeing where it went. Derek was impressed. "You seem happy." "I am happy. Different kind of happy than with Rachel." "How so?" "I don't know. Lighter maybe. Less intense." "Is that good or bad?" "I think it's good. You were always so serious with Rachel. Like you were working at the relationship." "Relationships take work." "Yeah, but they shouldn't feel like work." "You know what I mean." I didn't know what he meant. My mom called in late October. I ran into Mrs. Chun at the market. "Yeah." She said Rachel's engaged. I felt something flicker in my chest. Not pain exactly. More like an echo of what pain used to feel like. Good for her. To the guy she brought to the wedding in August. That was fast. She said Rachel seems happy. Then I'm happy for her. Mom was quiet for a beat. "Are you really?" "Mom, Rachel and I are done. We've been done. If she found someone who makes her happy, that's a good thing. But doesn't it bother you? After everything, what would be the point of being bothered?" She moved on. I moved on. Life moves forward. "You're seeing someone, aren't you?" I smiled. "Natalie. She's great." "Serious?" "Getting there." "Good. You deserve someone who's sure about you." "Everyone does." November brought Thanksgiving and a text from Rachel I hadn't expected. "Rachel, I heard you're seeing someone. I'm happy for you." I stared at the message for a moment before responding. "Me? Thanks. Heard you're engaged. Congratulations." "Rachel, thank you. I wanted to reach out because I've been thinking a lot about everything that happened between us." "Me? Okay. Rachel, I treated you terribly. I know I apologized before, but I don't think I fully grasped how badly I handled everything until I started planning a wedding and thinking about what commitment actually means." "Me? I appreciate you saying that." "Rachel, you were right about everything. About me not being ready. About using you as a backup. About needing to be sure on my own." "Me? I'm glad you found that certainty." "Rachel, can I ask you something?" "Me? Sure." "Rachel, do you think if I'd handled things differently, we'd still be together?" I sat with that question for a long time. "Me, honestly? I don't know. Maybe. But what happened, happened. There's no point in hypotheticals." "Rachel, you're right. I just wonder sometimes." "Me? That's natural. But you're engaged now. Focus on that. Focus on your future with him." "Rachel, I am. I just wanted you to know that leaving you was the biggest mistake I ever made, even if it led me to where I am now." "Me? Life is funny that way. Sometimes our mistakes lead us exactly where we need to be. Rachel, are you where you need to be? Me, I think so. Yeah. Rachel, good. You deserve that. Me, so do you. Rachel, thank you. For everything. For being kind even when I didn't deserve it. For respecting me enough to let me go. For not making me the villain in your story. Me, you were never the villain. We were just two people who wanted different things at different times. That's all. Rachel, I'm going to go now. But I wanted to say thank you. And goodbye. Really goodbye this time. Me, goodbye, Rachel. I hope you have a beautiful wedding and an even more beautiful life. Rachel, you too. That was the last time I heard from her. Christmas came and went. Natalie met my parents, and it went surprisingly well. My mom loved her, my dad approved, and my sister pulled me aside to say she hadn't seen me this relaxed in years. New Year's Eve, Natalie and I were at a party when midnight struck. We kissed as fireworks exploded outside, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Certainty. Not about where we were going or what would happen next, but certainty that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, with someone who chose me without hesitation, without doubt, without needing space to figure out if I was worth keeping. In early January, Derek and I were having our usual Sunday basketball game when he brought it up. So Rachel got married last weekend. Yeah. Saw the photos on social media. Looked nice. Good for her. He missed a shot, swore under his breath. You really don't care, do you? I care. I hope she's happy. I just don't care in a way that affects my life anymore. That's growth, man. Or just acceptance. Same thing. We played in silence for a bit. You think you'll marry Natalie? He asked eventually. Maybe. If it feels right. How will you know if it feels right? I thought about it. I'll know because I won't be trying to convince her or myself. I'll know because when I think about the future, I won't feel fear or doubt. I'll just feel ready. And you feel that with Natalie? Getting there. Good. You deserve someone who's sure about you. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. Rachel wasn't sure, and you knew it. That's why you let her go. Yeah. And now she's married to someone she got engaged to after 6 months, which probably means she's still not sure, but she's scared of being alone. Or maybe she found what she was looking for. You're generous. I'm realistic. People make choices for all kinds of reasons. It's not my job to judge them, even when those choices hurt you. Especially then. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Derek laughed. Where'd you read that? My therapist's office wall. You're in therapy? Started in September. Figured if I'm going to build something new, I should work through the old stuff first. And it's helping. I'm learning a lot about myself. About patterns I want to break. About the kind of partner I want to be. Heavy stuff. Yeah, but good heavy. The kind of weight that makes you stronger instead of weighing you down. We finished the game. I won by 6 points, but barely. Walking to our cars, Derek stopped me. Hey, I'm proud of you, you know. For what? For handling all this with grace. A lot of guys would have turned bitter or angry. You just moved forward. What else was I supposed to do? I don't know. But whatever you did, it worked. You're happy. That's all that matters. He was right. I was happy. Not because Rachel had gotten married or moved on. Not because I was in a new relationship that might lead somewhere. But because I'd chosen myself. I'd chosen peace over persuasion. I'd chosen dignity over drama. I'd chosen to let go instead of holding on. And in that choosing, I'd found something more valuable than any relationship could give me. I'd found myself. The story could end there, with a neat bow and a clear lesson. But life isn't that tidy. In March, almost exactly 1 year after Rachel had walked out of that coffee shop, Natalie and I were moving into an apartment together. We were unpacking boxes when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. Hi, is this a pause? Is this Rachel's ex? Who is this? This is Connor. Rachel's husband. I found your number in her phone. My stomach dropped. Is everything okay? Not really, no. Rachel's in the hospital. She asked me to call you. What happened? She had a breakdown. Full panic attack. Couldn't breathe. Kept saying she'd made a terrible mistake. The doctors have her sedated now. I'm sorry to hear that. But I don't understand why you're calling me. She kept saying your name. Kept saying she needed to talk to you. I looked at Natalie, who was watching me with concern. Connor, I don't think that's a good idea. Please. She's been struggling for months. The wedding, the marriage, everything. She keeps saying she rushed into it. That she wasn't ready. That she made a mistake. That's something you two need to work out together. Or with a therapist. Not with me. Just 5 minutes. Please. She's asking for you. I closed my eyes. No. What? I said no. I'm sorry Rachel's struggling, but I'm not part of her life anymore. I can't be the person she calls when things get hard. She said you'd understand. I do understand. But understanding doesn't mean I can help. She needs professional support, Connor, not an ex-boyfriend. There was a long silence. She was right about you. Right about what? She said you'd choose yourself, that you'd set a boundary and stick to it. She said she wished she'd learned that from you instead of learning it the hard way. Tell her I hope she gets the help she needs. But tell her gently, and tell her it's time to let me go. For both our sakes. Okay, I will. And thank you for not coming. She needs to learn to face things without running to the past. Good luck, Connor. I mean that. I hung up and Natalie came over. Ex-girlfriend. Yeah. And she's having a hard time. But it's not my hard time to have. Natalie kissed my forehead. Good answer. We went back to unpacking, and I felt that certainty again. The certainty that I'd made the right choice a year ago. The certainty that choosing peace over persuasion wasn't cold or cruel. It was self-preservation. It was growth. It was the best decision I'd ever made. Because commitment isn't heavy when it's with the right person. Space isn't needed when you're secure in what you have. And understanding feelings doesn't mean accepting treatment you don't deserve. I learned all that from letting Rachel go, and I wouldn't trade that lesson for anything.